Yes. What's up? This is Impact Masters Media bringing you Impact Masters podcasts. And today we are blessed to bring you another series of episode. As usual, we're covering tech ecosystem in Africa and telling our own stories. And today we have one of our greatest man from the lake, the land of Obama and the like, one and only, the founder of Podii HQ, the coder, the software engineer himself, Sigu Magwa. How are you, Sigu?
I'm good, Mike.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
How are you doing this evening?
A little tired from the event, but
nice.
It's replenishing, and I'm looking forward towards this.
Yeah. For those who don't know, we are in the land of Mulembe, Kakamega. It's in Western Kenya, from one of the biggest workshop happening in this side of town, tech workshop actually, and that's what Sigu is mentioning. It has been awesome day, but nevertheless, we said we should bring you this live and direct. I'm your host, Michael Kimathi, and I would like to go straight ahead and ask Sigu, who is Sigu Magwa?
So Sigu Magwa, first of all, it's actually a weird kind of combination of names, so it's hard for a couple of Kenyans to tell who this name, where this name is coming from. But yes, I'm born and bred in Kenya. Besides the beautiful freshwater lake, it's called Lake Victoria. It's actually the largest freshwater lake in Africa. The largest freshwater lake in Africa, if I'm not wrong. So I've been born and bred in Kisumu, Kenya, ever since. And that's where I live at the moment.
Yes. So yes, you're from Kisumu, Sigu. Yes. So if I'm listening to you, I would like to know, beside you coming from Kisumu, I'd like to know where did you stay? Like, where were you born? Which year? If you want, it's optional, by the way.
Yes.
And how was your childhood?
Oh, nice. So when I was young enough to remember my I was enough to remember my childhood, I was inside a teacher's quarters. So that was somewhere in the early 90s. So back in early 90s, I remember I was in the teacher's quarters. So we used to have neighbors who also are teachers. So everyone around me was either a teacher's kid or also a teacher.
Okay.
Yes, or students. So I would actually enjoy looking at students doing their evening laps and just going to class. And I always used to admire going to secondary school.
Nice.
Because I always wanted to go to secondary school back then.
Okay.
Yes.
So your folks were teachers?
Yes.
High school teachers, primary school teachers?
So back then, my mom was in primary school and my dad was teaching in high school. And after growing up, I realized that in the 80s, probably there were fast promotions. And he probably became a school head.
Right? The school principal.
Yeah, he was a school principal by the time he was in his 30s. And most of his friends were also principals by the time they were 30s. I don't think that really happens right now.
Yeah, I think our folks, when you used to join university, so I'm not that old to know it, but I think that's what used to happen, and it was a beautiful thing. So by the time you are graduating they used to graduate from Form 4 to Form 5 and 6, and Form 5 and 6 were offered by high schools, the current high schools. So if you progress that far and then join university, the government had a way of placing you somewhere.
Yes.
So it was like a set curve. Right now, it's not definite. Like, you might do all the degrees you want, but still you have to look for something to do. It's beautiful because you can become an entrepreneur, as you are, and we'll talk about that.
Yes.
But it's not straightforward. There's nothing guaranteed.
No.
You can have a PhD and still be jobless.
Yeah, there are a couple of instances that such things have happened to Kenyans. So just a quick one. A friend of mine, so after finishing my campus, I had a friend of mine who got a job at one of the banks in Kenya. And he worked there for a year or so.
Yeah.
Then he went out to South Africa to do his master's.
Yeah.
When he came back, he was now jobless because he had left his bank job. He had now done his master's in electrical, but now there was nowhere he could get.
He was overqualified.
He was overqualified for anything that he tried to do.
Yeah. That's sometimes I say it's not to be stereotype or anything, but I think that's Africa for you. But there's someone actually who told me something interesting. This besides the point that if you are that learned, you should be able to create an opportunity for yourself.
Creating.
To some extent, if you think about it, and it's sometimes it's offensive to someone who has gone ahead and studied that much, but to some extent, if you can't apply your knowledge, maybe you have no business getting the knowledge.
Yeah, but again, trying to think from their perspective, it's not as easy to create your own opportunities.
For sure.
You might have been more of a scholarly person, and this might, let no one crucify me for this.
For sure.
This might actually explain why some of the best or the better learned people end up in academia, because it's probably what they're used to. It's where they can easily find jobs. It's where they can easily actually just employ themselves or be employed. So that to some extent might explain why the better learned people are mostly in academia. Yes.
So Sigu, where did you go to school? Like, did you go for did you start with nursery, kindergarten?
Yes.
Because you see, I've realized whether things are also. I went to a nursery school myself, so you tell someone who went to a nursery school, like, nursery school, what's that? They're like kindergarten and above.
So I went to a nursery school, and nursery was 1 year. So you go to a nursery school for 1 year, then you go to class 1.
By the way, you guys do. This is funny. So when you used to join nursery or class 1, by then I don't know if it was common to everyone. You used to like touch your ear using your hand.
Yes.
You guys do that?
I am a teacher's kid.
Okay.
So I will qualify as long as I go to school. Then I qualify to move to the next class. So I didn't really have to do this. You actually had to do this.
Sounds like corruption, man. Or is it nepotism?
No. It's you have to know people.
Oh, okay. That's another polite way of saying corruption. Anyway, but it's sour to anyway, here we are, and since I know you're not a bad guy, you
actually
do amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was telling you about that. So we go to class 1, then that was back where I was living. Then I was thrown into a boarding school in class 5. It was a
wait a
big
minute.
culture shock.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Can you remember your experience in these lower classes?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about it.
I was lucky enough to be a few meters away from the school, so I would just literally cross the fence, and I would go to the primary school that I was learning at, because the secondary school and the primary school were they were just literally separated by a fence. Part of the reasons you'll never want to be a teacher's kid was that your mom would in the morning she would leave you with hot tea, and she wants you to take the tea. She's running to school, literally just going to school. She gets to school before you. And guess what she does?
She is on duty.
Yes.
If you know, you know.
If you know,
I don't think like 2,000 kids would understand what we're trying to say here, but what we're trying to say here is that discipline was really important when we were growing up. So lateness, things to do with not doing homework, stuff to do with like being dirty or fighting, whatever kids do when they're young was not really taken easily. And I think it molded us to be who we are. I'm not saying we're the excellent people, but there are different ways to impact discipline. But I think discipline back in the day was really important. And she was like, "This is not my kid, right?"
Yeah.
When do you get to school?
Exactly. You get there, and she actually would make sure that you are in the list of the latecomers, because she's sure you are late. She was very sure that you
were you tempted not to stop going to school?
I personally wasn't really that tempted to. I know my brother was, and he would skip school.
Older or younger brother?
My younger brother.
Ah.
Yeah, he would skip school for a couple of days.
Ah, okay, I see.
He had a more interesting childhood than I did. But another interesting thing I remember about my lower primary school was we would actually go. So there was a way we would tell time when in class, and we didn't have watches. So
I see.
all our iron sheets, almost in all classes, the iron sheets had some holes in them. So the sun rays will be hitting down on the floor, and we would know when it's break time.
This was a public school?
Yeah, this was a public school. It will hit down on the floor, so we will actually know exactly that.
Track the light.
Yes, so if the light gets to this point, it's break time. If it gets to this other point, it's lunchtime.
Nice.
And it was accurate.
Well, it's not nice, but because that means if it rains, then you have a new problem.
Oh yes, yeah. If there was no sun, then you really had another problem, because
Hey, Chief, if you've made it this far,
Mike, you're talking about that, but again, we will literally be asked to go back to school with the school fence. So the school had a fence. Yes.
Why is that? So you guys literally build a new school while you're in school?
No. So we had a live fence. It was never.
That is in primary school.
Yeah, this is at a primary school. So there's we would. I don't know how to call this fence in English, but we would plant trees or plant. We would actually have sticks around the school as the school fence. So what will happen is, over time, cows will come and just.
Or once you plant these sticks, they grow.
No, not necessarily. Some grow, some never grow.
Okay.
So if they fail to grow, then we have to have other sticks.
That's the fence that you used to come back with, or?
Yes. So you'll come back home with a stick, and every person carries a stick. So it can be a thorny stick, or it can be another stick that actually grows. So if you come back with it, there were 3 types: the one that grows, and another one that you use to tie the fence. So after coming back with it, then the upper classes, so now we were clearly divided into nursery, lower, upper. And there was a common joke in school that the upper classes just never mix with the lower classes. So everyone will come back with the fence, but the upper classes were responsible for recreating the fence. And this would happen very frequently. Or maybe if a teacher sees you crossing the fence.
You should not cross the fence.
Never cross the fence.
Oh, I see.
Or you'll have to remake the whole fence.
How many hectares of land is that?
God, I can't remember. I can't even. Yeah, it's been years since I went.
But it must be a stretch.
It was a big stretch. It was a really big stretch. Another thing that we would do is about the fence thing. So there was no gate. Literally, there wasn't a gate in school. So when you close school, I know maybe a couple of Africans will understand what I'm talking about. But once you close the school, we were literally closing the school. So we would take thorns, the thorny trees,
and create a gate.
So we have it across the gate. And now the school has been closed.
You're so retro. Okay, so this kind of fond memory with what we have developed over time. Because right now, if you tell someone who is in primary school, public or otherwise, such story. Of course, I know there are some places like Northeastern where still this applies.
Yeah.
But most of the places, things have moved, to a better place, including the mabati or the roof walls and whatever. Yes. And also the fence side of things. So when you go to upper class, so you move to the other?
Yeah, so
stream.
Yes. So what happened is just on this, just a bit on this, I took my daughter back to that school some time back, and I did realize now they have a real gate.
Ah, nice.
Yes. And on the lower classes, I honestly never knew how a window looks like.
Ah, okay.
Yes. So our classes had spaces for windows.
Okay.
But there were no windows. I don't know if you can imagine what I'm talking about.
Windows.
Yeah, so the spaces for the window was there, but there
it
was
was empty.
literally no windows. So you'll not close, you'll not open the window. It was just the space for the window, hoping that one day the windows will be put in place. So the only classes that had windows were class 7 and 8.
So everyone aimed to be there.
Yes. Everyone wanted to be in class 7. Everyone wanted to be in class 8.
Was that like intentional?
No, not really. I think the school might probably have been too broke for.
Which school is this, by the way? If I may ask?
It's called Chianda Primary School.
Chianda. Where is it located specifically?
It's in Uyoma, Siaya County, Uyoma. Yes.
And Siaya, by the way, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I hear there are some smart guys who come from Siaya. Very smart.
But
on the ground,
yes.
Things are really bad.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. As I said, I'm one of the few who would walk a few meters. Some would walk kilometers to go prepare lunch and come back before the bell rings.
Yeah.
So people went through a lot, but I'm lucky I had shoes to school.
Yeah.
So I can't talk about not having shoes.
Will not become a president. Guys, if you don't get these jokes, our new president, which is William Ruto, president of Kenya, the 5th president of Kenya, he didn't have, shoes. Now it's a big joke. Like if you want to become a president, you need not have shoes.
Yeah, you need to
when you're growing up. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So when I was going to my 5th grade, so my folks decided that enough of that. I now need to move to a new school, which was now boarding school and boys only. Now I'll pause the boarding school thing first and tell you the one last interesting thing, or the last interesting thing about
please, by all means.
My lower primary. So a lot of people don't actually understand when I tell them that so my native language is Luo, and that's it's one of the 42 native languages, almost 42 native languages in Kenya.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand when I tell them that I learned English in Luo. I learned maths in Luo.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I learned English, Swahili, and maths in Luo.
Okay.
So the teacher will literally teach us in Luo in our in our nursery school.
Just a little bit pause.
Yes.
I understand, by the way, guys back in the day used to learn native language in school, depending where you're schooling.
Yes.
So if you're in Luoland, you'll have a subject.
The subject was called mother tongue. No, it was called mother tongue.
Oh, mother tongue.
Yes.
Yeah, if it's another place, you'll be taught that.
Yes. So
but I don't know if they teach that nowadays.
I think it was scrapped somewhere in early 2000s.
Yeah.
It might have been scrapped when they were doing away with the extra subjects. So they might have scrapped it away. But again, I honestly think it was a genius move to let us learn languages in language that we already understand.
True.
Because before I went to school, and I think by today's standard, I went to school late. Nowadays, kids go to school at around 3 years. I went to school at about 5, I think. 5 or something. Yeah. I was already fluent in Luo.
Yeah.
So if you want to teach me English, then teach me English in Luo.
Start from that point.
Yeah, exactly. So my whole math, I can do anything in maths in Luo.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice. So that's how I got started in maths, English, Swahili. But again, the danger of it is that you always think in Luo, then you translate it back to maths or Swahili. So this is relevant to me going to the boarding school, because now in boarding school there's no more Luo.
Yes.
So there's another culture shock.
Guys, did you have monitor? Was it called monitor or monto or something?
Monitor for the disc.
Monitor. There's something, if you spoke mother tongue, you
disc.
hang it, or you called it the disc. So for us, we call it monto. I don't know where that came from. Maybe some guys who have studied in the eastern part of the country will understand.
Yeah.
But we used to call it monto. So it was for us, it was this like smelly bone. I don't know which animal that bone came from, but you could hang it. It was a shame, man.
Yeah.
You could hang it the whole day until you find someone else who is speaking mother tongue, and then. Do you know what that does for an African,
Yeah.
you hate your own.
Exactly.
I think it's a way of brainwashing you to think that your own language is
not
really bad.
Yeah, that was it was really uncalled for. Lucky for us, lower classes were allowed to speak Luo. You could speak as much Luo as you want. But from class 4 onwards, it was just to try to sharpen the Queen's language. You are just trying to sharpen the Queen's language.
So unfortunate.
It was a very unfortunate thing. But again, the teachers thought that they were doing what is best for us.
Yeah.
They really thought that the most successful students are the ones who can speak the best English.
Yeah, and this actually brings me to a very important aspect of life that I've come to understand.
Yeah.
Speaking does not measure how smart you are.
Yes. And actually, accents do not tell how smart you are.
True. And 20% true.
And actually, accents simply means that you speak another language better than the language they think you
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you are here now in boarding school.
Yes. Oh, yes.
What happens?
So I get a culture shock now in a boarding school. I go to this school, no more Luo, and now I have to speak Swahili.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I'm now in grade 5. I have to speak Swahili all the time.
I tell you why I'm laughing. Yes.
And it's not easy because it's for the first time I'm meeting a lot of people from the urban region. And I had never really interacted with people who had grown up in towns. I'd never interacted with people who would regularly take buses to and from home. I didn't get the concept of taking a car if you're not going to a far place, if you're not going to a hospital. I didn't understand what it is why even taking the car? You're going back home. What do you mean? Can you just walk back home? Because everything to me was a walking distance away. However far it was.
Yes.
It was literally a walking distance away.
Yeah.
Even back in the primary school, we'll walk for sports days.
Yes.
We'll walk to the next school.
Yes.
And walk back. So that was
And how far was that? No, it sounded like you walk back. But how far was it?
The walk would be almost an hour.
So
2
distance-wise?
Really, Google Maps has just spoiled the distance things for me. I no longer can now tell what the distance
but do you have like approximates?
What distance was that?
Because right now you know where you used to go and, and come back.
Is that should be around 8 kilometers one way.
For a kid, that's a long distance.
Yeah, that's a long distance for a kid. So we'll sing along the way. Whether you've lost or won, you just have to sing all the way back to school.
Yeah.
So
when you lost, did you sing sad songs or?
No. You just have to sing. So we will tell ourselves that we don't want all the villagers to know that we've lost. So we will just sing some victory songs, the Tumeshinda thing. And by then I'm singing Tumeshinda and I don't know what it is. Just singing.
In Swahili?
Yeah, we are singing Swahili and English and we do not know what. I remember one of the songs was Don't You Worry, My Dear. I didn't know what I was singing. I was just saying, Don't you worry, my dear. Later on,
what the hell is that?
Exactly. I didn't even know what that was. Then later on, I come and realize they were actually saying, Don't worry, my dear.
Yeah. Now you remind me something interesting. And even it happens even nowadays. So some musicians sing, and the song is so good.
Yeah.
Even maybe in Lingala or French. And then you want to sing along. But then later on, you realize what you sang is actually opposite or something that actually doesn't make sense. And then when someone translates it for you, you're like, what did I say? I see that a lot on TikTok right now.
Yes.
People like trying to, translate songs and all that and whatnot. Yeah.
Now you're talking about Lingala. Back then, if you were not listening to Lingala, then you're backwards.
Lingala is so big in
Lingala was the thing.
Maestro.
It was the thing.
Yeah.
Kofi Olomide had just released we used to call it Loi, the album.
I know the Loi, yeah. The album itself was Loi.
The album itself was called Loi. If you could not sing along, then you're backward. So now I go get these urbanized humans who can sing along. Everything. So I do my best when I go back home during the holidays to cram and sing along.
What?
Now we go back to school the following term. Now there's a new song, and now whatever I have crammed
It's not
is now
relevant.
for the stupid ones.
No way.
Imagine.
That's
So,
not.
Yeah, that
Yeah, you have
that
to move with the trend.
exactly. That was me now trying to fit in back then. And it wasn't easy because you don't know anything.
Yes,
Everything that you try.
and of course you can't catch up. Musicians release a lot of songs at the
Yes.
same time. So every week
Yes.
there's a hit somewhere.
But again, I had to wait for KBC Swahili,
Mm.
the station,
Mm.
for it to play the song. Maybe they were lucky enough to have the VHS tapes.
You couldn't buy like the tapes, the cassette.
Where will you play it from?
That's another problem.
Yeah, you need to have a TV.
Wait a minute. No, not the VHS, the cassette. There are those cassette which used to have tape on one side, on the other side, which you could place on your radio and play it.
I wish I would send my father when he went to town, but I didn't know he was in he had the ability to buy the tapes and just bring them
Priorities.
home. Yes.
Like, is it the tape or should you hit?
Yeah, exactly.
Young man,
So-
get your priorities right. Yeah, so Kiswahili, there's something you said about Kiswahili.
Yeah.
And how was that?
Yeah, so me trying to catch
Swahili,
up in
yeah.
Swahili, me trying to catch up in Swahili, it wasn't easy, but I was lucky to have a family friend who was there. So whenever someone told me anything that I could not understand, I will just cram the word, rush to him and ask him, what does it mean? He would explain it to me. He would try and just make me understand what was being put across. So an embarrassing moment I remember, it shouldn't be embarrassing, but again, an embarrassing moment I remember about the Swahili thing. So it seems the teacher had realized that I'm not good in Swahili.
Yes.
I can't read it, but I could write it. Yeah, I would not fail a Swahili exam.
Yeah.
But I can't
Speaking was
speak.
the problem.
Yeah, speaking was the problem.
Because even the thinking was in the law.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was reading a paragraph in Swahili for the whole class,
Yeah.
and I saw some 3 letters. It was MBU. And when I was reading through, I read it as Mbo. And the whole class started laughing. I still don't know what's wrong. So the teacher goes to the board and writes MBWA and tells me, can you read this? And I read it. Mbwa. You know, I'm literally reading
What you see.
what I see. It's literally as I've been taught.
Yes.
So I still don't understand what's wrong. Then someone just gets up and corrects me, but I still don't understand why.
Why is it sounding different?
Yeah, why is it? And literally, if you think about it, they're the only 2 words in Swahili that you have to prolong the B. Because this is mbu and the other one is mbwa. There's no other Swahili word that you have to prolong if you think about it. So this was an edge case that someone expected me to understand.
Yeah.
So now I didn't have a lot of association with those who I was trying to catch up with because they always knew that I was behind. So I didn't really associate a lot with them.
So you developed some self-esteem when it comes to...
Yes, and I would actually create groups of people who I think that they're feeling the way I'm feeling. Who I actually thought that they are actually not trying to bring me down, or just who
people could understand you.
Yeah, people who could understand me, and it wasn't easy to actually even get anyone who could understand me back in primary school.
Yes.
So this actually even affected my performance.
Yeah.
So I remember I was at the bottom 4 in my first term, bottom 10, second term. I was always at the bottom because the culture shock I was telling you about.
Yes.
It wasn't easy back then, just the language, everything. Some other very interesting thing about the culture shock in primary school. So I go to my primary school, and one of the interesting things that shocks me is that electricity is available throughout the day.
You're like, what is this?
How?
Is this a miracle? Is this a magic or something?
How comes that if I switch on the switch,
the wall
throughout the day? You know, I'm the son of a teacher in high school.
Yes. And by the way, you're considered the affluent.
Yeah. And now, yes. So, and so the school had a generator.
Yes.
And you'll switch on the generator at 6:30 in the evening. The generator would run up to around 10:30 at night. But at 10:25, the control of the generator will dim the light once.
It's like warnings.
Yes, the warning, the second warning, and now the third one, it goes. So since my childhood, I always knew that electricity is available at night.
Only. Yeah.
And electricity is generated by a generator. And I knew where the generator is, and I would hear the generator sound. But now here I am. I can't see the generator, but the power is there.
So you thought these guys are using magic or something?
Yeah, no, I really could not understand why are we not blinking the lights at night? How comes you're still going to sleep and there's still power?
Yeah.
So you mean I can now iron my clothes during the day?
You felt like a boss.
Yeah, it's no. I think maybe a confused boss because things are just not adding up.
Yeah.
Nothing was really adding up.
Yes.
So I will just.
Which year was this?
Oh wow. That was 1998.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Sawa. If I was in that school also, I could be like, hey, Sigu, man. Sigu,
No, but,
Sigu, are you all right?
yeah, I was back in 98.